Ladies and gentlemen, Geraldo Rivera.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Boulder. Hope you had a nice weekend. Last week, these hills were alive with talk of a mystery man in Boulder. Suddenly, at least for a day or two, the focus of the investigation into the facts and circumstances surrounding the death of Jonbenet Ramsey expanded, at least momentarily, past her parents. Was there some strange pervert prowling the lovely streets of this usually quiet college town? Or was it all a smokescreen, a clumsy diversion to remove the spotlight from John and Patsy? Before I introduce our esteemed panel of insiders and experts, let us take a look at what has happened here in Boulder since we spoke to you last from here on Wednesday. By late last week, all of Boulder was awash in rumors about DNA and the girlfriend. Let's deal first with the science. 6 weeks after receiving the samples, Maryland's renowned Cellmark Laboratory finally finished its analysis of blood, hair, and fingernail scrapings taken from the child's body. Although no official would confirm or deny persistent reports that the father was not excluded as the donor of the suspect DNA, Police Chief Tom Colby continued to indicate that no arrest was imminent. On the mistress front, Kimberly Ballard of Tucson, Arizona, surfaced big time. The married woman who claims an affair with John Ramsey during the time Patsy was being treated for ovarian cancer told me that attorneys and investigators working for the Ramseys had been in almost constant touch with her.
I've been contacted by the Boulder Police twice, and I've been contacted by Ellis Armstead and Associates numerous times.
While last Wednesday, Boulder authorities journeyed to Arizona in a futile attempt to speak with Ms. Ballard face-to-face. I want to ask my panel a question that has troubled me. It is the most question asked me, other than did the parents really do it? If the parents really did it, who was it? The mom and the dad's covering up, or the dad, the mom's covering up? The next most asked question is, why this child? This is where we derive our title for this, our second installment from Boulder here, Boulder, Colorado. And the answer I give is I don't know. I don't know why this child, why the fascination that stretches from one end of our country to the other, from Japan to Germany to the United Kingdom to Hawaii, I am asked, from people throughout the globe. Why this child? Why David Kaplan, well-known defense attorney, why this child?
Well, I think it starts off with the obvious: murder, affluence, no solution. But I think the childhood pageants and those 20 seconds of videos, those first few days, and the pictures of the child that were, plastered all over the TV, that's something different, and I think that grabbed onto the fascination, and from then on, it's been a continuing interested story. Andrew Garland, ex-Jefferson County public defender. Have you pondered this question?
I think there are a lot of reasons. We could go on for a long time, but an accident of timing was the wrapping up of the O.J. Simpson case.
I agree
and
that is a factor.
Fascination and even fixation. And then this homicide and the investigation that followed. And some people were going to group counseling to try and kick their O.J. habit. And for those folks, they've got a whole new vista in following this. It's an unsolved mystery at this point.
Norm Early, well-known former district attorney here, now a prominent spokesperson for victims' rights. Is it perhaps the identity of these parents, affluent, well-connected, influential here in town?
I think it's that, plus the fact that the parents have not been eliminated as suspects. And as long as the public believes that it is even remotely possible that parents could have done something like this to their child, there's going to be interest in the story. That, coupled with the fact that you've got all those pageant segments that have been played over and over again, not only in this country but other countries, that really titillate the interest in the case.
Daniel Recht, a man whose reputation needs no bolstering from me, well-known attorney here in town. Have you ever seen anything like it?
No, and see, I agree with Norm. What this comes down to is the parents being suspects, and right on the heels of O.J., and us as Americans being tested with this whole, our notion and our endearment with the presumption of innocence, and all of a sudden we have O.J. who done it, and then these Ramseys who are suspects, and it's testing this presumption of innocence. But let me just say, that's the way for your viewers to look at this, and I think it's fascinating, and I think it helps sort of look at this case if you think, gee, if those were my uncle and aunt, or if those were my neighbors that I knew very well, I couldn't imagine them doing it. Maybe they did, but I can't imagine that they did it. That's sort of what the presumption of innocence is about, and as we analyze the case to keep that in mind, I think it's sort of a fun civics lesson.
The fun part, I'm not sure. Civics lesson, I am sure. Bob Pence, ex-FBI chief here in Denver. Has the FBI ever, to your knowledge, gotten this deeply involved in a case that was not a kidnapping, but a homicide, and a homicide committed in the child's own home?
Normally, the FBI would only be involved until the time that a body is found and it's been transported out of state, but in this case, of course, because of the magnitude of the publicity and the potential impact, they have certainly been an advisory role from the advising what conditions would be normal for an interview under similar situation or conditions, and all types of support, from linguistic support to all types of forensic support.
Why the interest in the Bureau, sir? Why the FBI?
I can
say... The big
say...
feed of the federal government clomping through Boulder. They've taken all of the videotapes. They've taken all of the transcripts of these parents' interviews. They are now, in many ways, it seems to me, the puppet master pulling the strings of the local authorities.
I think they would have a support role in any case that started as a kidnapping and ended up in a homicide, because the FBI does the profiles at the request of law enforcement all over the country.
This deep?
But in this case, because I think of the magnitude and the continuing, lingering national and international interest, they probably are responding to additional requests, and obviously because of the potential impact of it, they're probably doing more than they normally would.
You look your usual Dan Rex skeptical self.
I've told you this before, Geraldo. I've done lots of murder cases. I've never seen the FBI come into Colorado and do this kind of thing. So it's more than just, oh, they're doing the usual